Well, reactions have continued to trail. Why the certified true copies of the presidential election petition tribunal judgment were produced having Tinubu's legal counsel's header on it. Well, this is still serious matters here at Tony TV. Please do share videos, others drop your comment, make them simple and civil. Well, there have been several reactions to the production of the certified true copies of the Pepc, judgment, where we have Tinubu's legal team's, header at the top. Though they have called it watermark, but that's actually a header, and it can only be inserted by one who produces a document. Well, should we now say, or should we now say that it was the president's legal team that actually produced the judgment, or worked hand in hand with the judges, to produce the judgment, or what? Well, these had necessitated several reactions from the different quarters, especially one from the team or the camp of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, in a press release. Well, Pepc must explain, they said, to Nigerians and the world why the header of Tinubu's presidential legal team was on CTC copies of its judgment. Well, when I saw this, when it was sent to me, I just thought, well, you can't hide the truth the truth for so long. I've always said that, lie can fly, but you see, when truth will just catch up within a very short while. And so, whether true or not true, whichever, there is always a truth. There is always a clearer picture. There is a bigger picture. There is a true color. We might not all be clear. We might not even all understand what is happening. Did Tinubu's legal team write the judgment? Did they work with the judges? Let's even put that aside. If we should even touch on the way the judges, read out the judgment. One, it's a lot of people fell asleep. You understand? People were sleeping, because of the way it was being read out. It wasn't read out with, that kind of energy you would have expected from somebody who had something to say, who had something to prove. You understand? Because the lawyers had done their work. It's now the time for the judges to do their own work. But I was hearing readings that sounded like a primary 3 child or primary 2, child just trying to, put words together. And that was what, because we all heard different things. Some other persons, I hear, but then we just heard it that way. But then it also sounded as though, just like Aisha Yusuf said on Arise News, that it sounded as if the judges were fighting, the petitioners' legal team as against being a neutral body, who should stand in between. It was as if, it sound making, statements such as, do you expect us to go and look for, this? Do you expect us to get you this? Do you expect us to get you that? And all of that. I think there had been a process. There had been a time frame when these guys brought in, documents and all of that. And, why didn't you ask questions? Did you just leave it to, all necessary avenues should have been explored at such times, to ask every question, not bringing it to the judgment table. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer anyway, but then I believe that certain things are just normal things to just be done. And, instead of sounding as though you are on the side of the respondent and, fighting or, against the petitioners. It's not actually supposed to be. The judges are supposed to be neutral. But then let's go back to the, issue of the present. The certified true copies were released, though they had to raise alarm that it wasn't being released at the right, but then they have gotten it so that those who want to go to the Supreme Court can go to they can file for it, because they had only 14 days, which actually included weekends, and so they had to get the certified true copies. Well, after causing needless delay in availing the PDP candidate, presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and his legal team certified true copies of its judgment, the Presidential Election Petition Commission must explain to Nigerians and the world ambiguities around the copies of the judgment bears the header of the Tinubu Presidential Legal Team. It is not our intention to stir up controversies on the matter, but it is important that Pepc should tell Nigerians why they choose to affix the header of the respondent of the certified on the certified true copies of their judgment, whereas the copies that went to the petitioners did not have the same. Now, I saw a response from the lead of the legal team of the president, Babatunde Ogala SAN, where he said that it was when they received the copies of that certified true copies, when they received their own copies, it was passed through their own system. They scanned it and of course affixed that, and before sending it to their to their lawyers. That was their own take. That was what they said. That was their response to it. Well, the PDP is saying that their own does not have that. The APC or the Presidential Legal Team is saying that while they at the moment they collected that, they had to fight, they had to pass it through. I don't see any reason why they did not send it to everybody raw. Why was there any need to adjust or to add anything to it or to watermark it? Since it's the same thing, it's just like there was really no need, if that was the case, but there was really no need if there was nothing, to it. Because, and they also claim, that's the Presidential Legal Team, also claim that the PDP actually got the first copy that was produced at the registry that day. And before, and well, then let's move on. Was that because the PDP is saying, was that because the Tinubu Legal Team is deemed to be accorded special privileges? The court must explain. He said it is very clear that there are many questions begging for answers, including why the Pepc came to the decision to avail the respondent, especially the Tinubu Legal Team, to have a first receipt of the CTC of the judgment before the plaintiff. Well, the curiosity, and the plaintiff needed it more because they are going to the Supreme Court, so they needed it more. The curiosity is more confounding based on the fact that the lead counsel to Atiku and the PDP had pleaded in the open court to have express receipt of the judgment, to which Justice Aruna Shamani, agreed to and promised to make the documents available the following day, which was Thursday. Well, Nigerians want to know why the Pepc, confers special privileges to the Tinubu Legal Team by making them first have custody of copies of the presidential election petition judgments now. Even though it was more urgent for the petitioners who needed the document in order to cause an appeal to the Supreme Court within 14 days, including weekends. In the course of delivering its judgment, the Pepc, had spoken of the petition it was ruling upon in a vexatious and denigrating language, as if it was a crime to bring a case of electoral banditry before the courts. Do you understand what I've been saying? I said that earlier on. It sounded as if the judges were fighting the petition. It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be a neutral thing, if there are no strings attached. And I believe that someday we'll come to that point in this country where things will be done without any string attached. It won't be an issue of knowing somebody. It won't be an issue of somebody, However, unfolding development after the court's ruling is suspicious about whether or not the Tinubu Legal Team provided clerical services to the Pepc. Otherwise, how and when did the Tinubu Presidential Legal Team creep into a document that was supposed to be the official document of the Court of Appeal of Nigeria? We need to restate that the Tinubu Presidential Legal Team on the top left-hand corner of the 780 or 98 pages is neither a monochrome nor a metadata. it is actually a header, meaning that except for a valid explanation, the Tinubu Presidential Legal Team is the originator of the document. For that purpose of clarity, a header is text that is placed at the top of a page, while a footer is placed at the bottom of a page. Typically, these are areas used for inserting information such as the name of the document, the chapter heading, page numbers, creation date, and the likes. On the other hand, watermarks is a faint design made in some parts or some paper during manufacture that is visible when held against the light, and typically identifies the marker of the document and the maker of the document. So I had mentioned that earlier on, that it was not a watermark as said by the lead counsel to the president, Babatunde Ogala, an SAN, sorry, it's not a watermark, sir. It's a header, it's not watermark, and these are things that can only be done by. So even if what's it called, even if there was a need for the Presidential Legal Team to scan it, it should have the watermark, not the header. So, but then, we'll move on. Let's just move on. Again, the PEP must explain why it came to the discretionary decision of having the respondents have a custody of the judgment earlier in the day, on Friday, while only making same available to the petitioners later in the day. And only after the late counsel to Atiku and PDP had written a second letter, the first was on Thursday, to the court demanding for copies of the judgment. Well, let me just round up this particular one. It says Nigerians and the world are earnestly waiting for answers to this posers as the legal challenges shift to the Supreme Court. Otherwise, it will validate suspicions that there was external factors involved in the formulation of the judgment and bring the entire judiciary of Nigeria into disrepute. Make no mistakes about it. This legal challenge to the electoral banditry of February 25th, which has now shifted to the apex court, is not about Atiku. It is indeed our last-ditch efforts to salvage our country and deepen our democracy. Against the background of the dissemination of nearly all the institutions of state, including the INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission, which dragged us into this quagmire. Our intent is to ensure that the judiciary, the last hope of the common man, does not go to the dogs. Well, majority of that was done by Frank Shaibu, Special Assistant Communication to Atiku Abubakar from Abuja. Well, like I said earlier on, the Presidential Legal Team had responded to that, and the question had been, did the Presidential Legal Team prepare the judgment, or did they work with the judges? The judges sounded more like being on the side of the respondent and against the petitioners in their tone of questioning and response, and all of that. Then I don't know, it makes things look more suspicious, you understand. But then we call the judiciary the last hope of the common man. Really, I don't really see that. Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians are in pains. We have been paying. There has been sacrifice upon sacrifice upon sacrifice upon sacrifice. When do we want to get out of sacrificing? And in fact, actually, if you are planning to become this, for several years, for 20 years, when will you eventually now be what you are planning to do? Is it in your grave that you now be? Well, we hope that things get better. And now that children are returning to school, parents are already been beaten by, the hardship in the land as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy. That's taking a chunk of life away from Nigerians. And I said life, away from Nigerians. But then I pray that God will, sustain us and help us to get out of this quadro. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Pharaoh could only hold the Israelites for so long. You understand? At some point, he had to let them go when they saw the finger of God. I pray that if there's any of such thing in Nigeria, they will see the finger of God. Because, I saw a news some days ago, Minister of Defense telling us to pray to God to help us end insecurity in Nigeria. Really? The same insecurity that was caused by some people, and all of that. A retired general cannot stop the insecurity. Who are they insecure? Where are they? In Nigeria? Nigeria has become too big that it cannot be secured anymore. That local governments have been taken over by bandits and nobody is saying anything. Controlling parts of the state and nobody is saying anything about it. Well, we're going to surely get to the end of the road on all these issues in Nigeria, and Nigeria will surely be great again and spoken greatly of. Well, this is still Serious Matters here at ONIF TV. I appreciate every one of you, but please feel free to drop a comment. Make them simple and civil. This is Serious Matters. My name is Olukunle Bras. Please enjoy the rest of your day.